The purpose of this project is to discover the factors, motivations, and problems faced within the higher education department. However, we aren't exactly talking about the college student you may observe most often on a college campus. We're not talking about Joe College or any other 20-year-old college student who attends higher education right out of high school. In fact, when Google Images was used to find a picture of a college student, no pictures appeared of adults over the age of 24. And yet every day our non-traditional students attend classes, participate in clubs, and search for careers. Meet Lady, a 68-year-old college student attending classes for the first time at the higher education level. She is what one may call a non-traditional student. This term itself induces the idea that Lady is not typical or normal, thus placing her on the atypical axis. The chances that you may see 68-year-old females or 55-year-old males or parents or plausible authority figures suddenly becoming your classmates and peers is not the most common observation when you are walking down the mall at the University of Maine. And yet, Lady is just that. We can observe this little old lady in our classrooms any day of the week. She's not the stereotyped college student, but she is there for the same reason we all should be, to get a degree. According to the study of non-traditional and traditional students in terms of their time management behaviors, stress factors, and coping strategies, a study published by Patricia Forbes of Sam Houston State University, the general conception of a non-traditional student is a commuter, most likely married, don't care about having a good time in college, want to graduate as quickly as possible, not involved in campus activities, and do not feel as though they are part of the college environment. And yet, according to Adult Learning Theory, Applications to Non-Traditional College Students, published by Carrie Kenner and Jason Weinerman, the factors of non-traditional students are often financial independence, full-time employees, having dependents, or part-time employees. In fact, the three largest groups of adult learners are vets coming home from Afghanistan and Iraq, adults who recently got their GEDs, and the laid-off workers from the recent recession of 2008. Each of these groups of adult learners are in higher education programs for a different reason. If we look at Lady's non-traditional student experience from a developmental standpoint, Erikson's stages of psychosocial development posit that at her age, a person should be in the generativity versus stagnation stage, which is the stage where the older individual passes down their knowledge, wisdom, etc. Lady's attendance in college is atypical of the norm, according to this aspect of Erikson's theory. Instead of being taught, Lady should be the one doing the teaching. On the other hand, in a way, Lady is fulfilling the concept behind Erikson's theory in that she is attempting to produce something of real value in herself. In my interview with her, she impressed upon us that much of the reason she attends college is to overcome her shortcomings in order to help those in a similar situation. An example of this is Lady's dyscalculia. Lady has overcome a disability that prevents some people from finishing grade school and imparts her wisdom that she has learned onto others by working with literacy volunteers. Lady is fulfilling Erikson's theory in that she is passing on wisdom of life experiences by working with others. In conjunction with the article entitled Motivation, Interest, and Positive Affect in Traditional and Non-Traditional Students, published by Dorothea Bai, Dolores Pushkar, and Michael Conway of Concordia University, Lady is also showing completion of the other stages of development. This study found that non-traditional students found rapport with professors more meaningful than traditional students and found in-class learning experiences to be more meaningful as well. The study also found that traditional students don't need to have the positive affect to be successful in their academic careers. On the other hand, the study showed that age was a predictor of cognitive maturity and learning strategies, and that the motivation for intrinsic personal growth and improvement is reported higher for non-traditional students than their counterparts. I believe Lady, as well as other non-traditional students, is demonstrating a sense of productivity and is being a role model for future generations, thus loosely fitting Erikson's developmental theory. However, if we view Lady's situation as a non-traditional student from the distal environmental theory of motivation, Lady's life path seems to make a little more sense. Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory of proximal motivation is a theory in psychology proposed by Abraham Maslow in a 1943 paper entitled A Theory of Human Motivation. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is often portrayed in the shape of a pyramid, with the largest and most fundamental levels of need at the bottom and the need for self-actualization at the top. A good pyramid could be found on page 121 of the textbook for this class. If one does not satisfy the needs at one level of the pyramid, true progression is impossible, and there will be residual negativity resulting from those unmet needs. This is why a lady had the need to go back to school. Somewhere along her own pyramid, some basic need was not met, and that underlying unrequited need spurred her to change her life path at the risk of losing all that she had, her marriage and her relationship with her children. I would argue that these unresolved needs that motivated her to make these choices are knowledge and understanding needs, need for self-esteem and respect of others, and need for love and acceptance. And in fulfilling those needs, Lady is now at the state of self-actualization and perhaps transcendence. Lady lived most of her life as a typical woman of her age group by marrying, raising a family, and working. Although working was not necessarily typical of her time generation, it is more typical because she worked from the home as a caretaker and nanny. After her children left home, Lady began to get bored and feel the need to be needed, or the stage of generativity, which caused her to want to go back to school. As a consequence of going off the beaten path, Lady divorced her husband, who forbade her from going to college. In the long run, Lady is and will be happier because she has self-worth that she never experienced before, as well as a sense of purpose and achievement, success, generativity, and positive social regard. While she loosely fits Erikson's developmental model, we believe that the proximal motivation theory is a better fit for Lady because it is not age-limited. We all go through life in our own manner, and I think that is all we have. I think that we all have things we wish we did as we grew older. I think this is where the bucket list idea comes into play. As we near the end of our lives, we have this list of things we must do in order to feel complete. It doesn't necessarily need to follow the strict age order of Erikson, but in order to reach the final stages of self-actualization according to Maslow, each previous level needs to be met. It also fits Lady better because it leaves room for interpretation. Lady had her own definition of knowledge and what it meant to feel needed. Someone else may fit better to Erikson's model because following the typical path makes them feel more normal and thus accepted. All in all, Lady has had a positive experience as a non-traditional student because she recognizes a sense of purpose in her life. Just like Kenner's Adult Learning Theory published document finds, Lady brings in her own experience, which allows her to relate to the material being taught. She enjoys working with professors and other students who admire her for coming back to school, thus allowing her to feel more needed and loved, one of Maslow's key aspects for motivation. In this case, the motivation to remain in the difficult terrain of higher education.